So, yesterday I was laying in bed trying to go to sleep after a long day's work, and like a moron, I had my phone with me and I was like, I'm just gonna check Twitter one last time before I go to sleep. And I knew it was a mistake when I did it, but I did it anyway, and I got what I deserved because up came this tweet from UN Women when it comes to building back better after COVID-19, which was also Biden's campaign slogan, by the way. I'm sure it was just a coincidence. Draw inspiration from Equiteria, where all people have equal rights and opportunities regardless of their gender. And like an idiot, I clicked on this link and was instantly greeted with one of the most terrifying dystopian things I have ever seen in my life. And I only looked at it for about 10 seconds and I was so freaked out. I was like, I just instantly retweeted this tweet. I was like, this is really creepy. I'm gonna do a reaction video tomorrow because I didn't want to spoil it. I didn't want to look too much into it because I don't want it to be a reaction video to this creepy hellscape that has been created, the land of Equiteria. So that's what we're gonna do in this video. We are going to explore the land of Equiteria. And oh dude, I can't, the toxic masculinity recycling plant, you can't make this stuff up. On Stereotype Avenue. Workplace discrimination, equal pay, equal work. The gender pay gap is a myth, people. Inclusion Square. Oh my god, I just can't. Oh, Reproductive Health Care Center. Voice. Choice. Safety. Like, this is creepy. This is like Brave New World. That's what this is. This is like Brave New World, where everyone is a zombie and they have to take the pill every time they have the least little bit of stress, and it just takes all their cares away. It just medicates them away. Let's explore the land of Equiteria. Reality check. Equiteria exists only in our imagination. Thank God. Today, no country in the world has achieved gender equity. I feel oppressed every single day of the week. 1. Unstereotype Avenue. If you ask a little girl walking along Unstereotype Avenue what she wants to be when she grows up, she can tell you, I can be anything: a scientist, an engineer, a Supreme Court judge. Didn't we just get another female Supreme Court judge? Okay, I'm just saying. An Olympic champion, an artist, an astronaut. Not even the sky is the limit when it comes to dreaming big in the land of Equiteria, because we've never had female astronauts or Olympic champions before. That's never happened in the history of the United States. The word stereotype has lost its meaning in this country. People root for girls who want to be professional football players. I saw a video like a couple weeks ago of the first woman who played in like a college football game because she was a soccer player and they need someone who could kick good, and she was the one that was around because the whole team got COVID, so they ran out of other players, and she got to play in the college football game, and it was awesome. This is happening in real life. Teachers encourage all of their students to choose STEM fields instead of assuming the girls wouldn't be interested in them. Am I on glue, or did we somehow forbid women from studying science and math? I didn't study science and math because I hated it. I was really good at math too. I'm like really like freakishly good at math, and I hated it, so I didn't study it. In Equiteria, diversity is celebrated, not feared, and a culture of acceptance dominates the hearts and mind. Violence-free alley. Oh, we've got the wheelchair. We got, actually, I was going to say he's a white man, but I don't actually think he's a white man because he doesn't look totally white. So I was going to say the white man is in his place, sitting back and letting the women rule the world. Another dude in a wheelchair over here. In Violence-free alley, 2 women are walking along, discussing their day at work. They were respectful, and I was fully heard in the meeting today. Me too, says the other. Because that's exactly what I said when I came out of like a really good meeting at work. I was like, I was fully heard in that meeting today. No one ever says that. No one talks like that. In Equiteria, it is a woman's shared experience of empowerment and equality. It often brings them together rather than a shared experience of sexual harassment. it just made the argument that the only way women bond in the world is from negative stuff happening to them. And when women are just empowered, then they will support each other. It's not as though 80% of the time there's a workplace bully in the office, they're bullying other women or anything, which is actually true. That's 100% true. But no, women, when there's a level playing field, women will never stab each other in the back or bully each other out of jealousy. They don't face persistent sexual harassment at work. Oh, because it's the evil men. It's the evil men that are the only responsible for their harassment at work. They don't face persistent sexual harassment at work, or when walking down the streets, they aren't taught to walk with their keys between their fingers in case they're attacked or worry about being judged for the clothes they wear. There is no such thing as femicide. Women are valued and respected here. Domestic violence is a rare occurrence because there are strong laws against it and services to support victims. I wonder if there are services to support men who are the victims of domestic violence, because there are men who are the victims of domestic violence that can't get help because they're not women. Since gender equality is the norm, the power dynamic between intimate partners are not oppressive or toxic. Equal pay street. This is where they're going to try to convince us that the gender gap is a pay gap. The gender pay gap is a real thing. It's not a real thing. On Equal Pay Street and everywhere else in Equitaria, there's no question that women and men are being paid equally for work of equal value. There are no systemic barriers that hold women back since they are encouraged to pursue careers across all sectors. There is no women's work or men's work. I have to assume they've also taught women how to negotiate their salaries, because that is the thing that keeps most women from earning the same as their male counterparts. Men negotiate salaries. Women do not negotiate salaries. Women usually take what is offered. They don't ask for more, whereas men know that you always go back and ask for more. And where I think this really comes back to is, frankly, like dating when they're younger, when men are expected to ask women out when they're like in high school and they're going on those like first initial dates, because when men ask women out and they're told no, they get used to rejection. They get used to what rejection feels like. That way they aren't so scared of being told no later in life. Maybe if women were raised to ask out men instead of men being raised to ask out women, this would actually be less of an issue. Women stay in the pipeline and become leaders across industries with care, work, and household responsibilities shared equally. Women don't have to worry about their family choices interfering with the way they are perceived at work and limiting their ability to progress. There's unified parental leave across all sectors. Fathers take parental leave as much as mothers do and enjoy caring for children. I actually think it would be great to have a parental leave. I think that that's a really good thing. I support that. Employers allow flexible arrangements for those who have care responsibilities. Also in Equitaria, minimum wages are set to provide decent income, and there is affordable quality and affordable care available for those who need it. And as a result, men and women equally contribute towards a thriving economy, and children are happy and healthy. Oh, we made it to the toxic masculinity recycling plant. Oh my God. Look at this. You got the men doing the recycling. Boys will be boys. We can't do that anymore. We can't have jokes anymore. Wow. We take all these bad men things and they become respect and no means no and equality. Just like in every civilization, citizens of Equitaria are affected by the human history, including patriarchal ideas of gender roles and what it means to be a boy or girl, a man or woman, a transgender person, or a gender non-conforming person, instead of conforming to the historical gendered stereotypes that have restricted men and women for generations. People of Equitaria question toxic masculinity. This is serious. This is a serious thing. In the toxic masculinity recycling plant, through innovative I'm sorry. Through innovative dialogues and learning, toxic behaviors are transformed into attitudes that perpetuate gender equality. For instance, expectations such as men and boys don't show emotion or that they're naturally aggressive have been transformed into healthier attitudes that respect every person's right to live as their true self with their full range of emotions, dreams, and capabilities. binary definitions of gender turned into a spectrum of gender identity and expression freed from oppressive gender roles. People of Equitaria are not held back by dominant forms of masculinity, and they are happier and mentally healthier than any society. Dude, like, this is the thing that perpetuates these stereotypes. Listen, I just live tweeted a training that that is being sold into colleges and universities, like diversity, equity, and inclusion training that they can use to send out to students and faculty and staff to tell people that they did the diversity training that they were supposed to do after the George Floyd stuff. And the training perpetuated stereotypes. The training was actually like, you might feel, if you're a female athlete, that there are conflicts in your identities. When you're an athlete, you are supposed to be aggressive, and when you're just a woman in class, you are supposed to be feminine. And you may feel like there's a conflict in those two intersecting identities, and this conflict may cause you stress. And in order to defeat the stress, you should go do kickboxing. I'm not making that up. I'm not making that up. It's reinforcing gender stereotypes and then saying, you know what? When there's a conflict between these stereotypes because you're trying to conform to two different stereotypes at the same time, that's going to cause you stress. Instead of just accepting who you are and loving yourself as you are and not worrying so much about the stereotypes, you should go do kickboxing to relieve that stress. It's just teaching exactly the wrong things. It's ridiculous. Inclusion Square. Let's just take a look at Inclusion Square. Oh, you got to do this missing a leg? He also looks like he might be blind. Wheelchair. Like all sorts of... Oh, white man! White man! White man! I bet he's always gay. He's okay. He's okay. He's a white man because he's gay. Oh my god. Two men stand together watching their son play on a jungle gym. He's made friends with a child in a wheelchair and another girl. And by the way, listen, I feel bad pointing out all of the diversity salad that's on display here, because in general, we should just treat people like people. It doesn't matter if they're in a wheelchair. It doesn't matter if they're missing a leg. It doesn't matter if they're actually a white dude, even, if they're gay. It doesn't matter. Just treat people like individuals. But it's like when it's forced diversity like this, it becomes funny. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend anyone. When it's forced diversity, it becomes funny. When you're saying that this young kid, oh, look, he's watching, the white dude is watching his son. Like, when you're saying this young kid, he made friends with a girl in a wheelchair, like, why can't you just say he made friends with a girl? Period. Why do you have to have the wheelchair in there? Like, I'm sure that for her entire life, she's not going to want to be identified as the girl in the wheelchair any more than this dude will want to be identified as the dude with one leg. That is probably the least exciting, least interesting, least important part of who they are as human beings. But this, forced diversity is it gets funny. It's funny, okay? Oh my god. Let's see, where was I? Two men stand together watching their son play on the jungle gym. He's made friends with a child in a wheelchair and another girl. Oh, so the child doesn't even have... The one in the wheelchair doesn't even have a gender now. Doesn't even have a gender. I think it's probably obviously a girl. There's a ponytail. But doesn't even have a gender. I guess that's the way it has to be. They're playing pretend. They're all knights guarding the castle against imaginary enemies. Inclusion Square is where families and friends meet to relax and spend time outside. Anyone and everyone can enjoy the space. Again, did I miss the part where people were barred from going to the park we're barred from going to the park based on stupid COVID lockdown restrictions. We can't go to the park now, but in normal times, we could all go to the park and hang out. No one was barred. No one said the park is only for straight white men. Everyone could go hang out in the park. This is not a new thing. Anyone and everyone can enjoy the space. It's accessible for those living with disability. People shouldn't feel judged or discriminated against on the basis of their sexual orientation, race, religion, or socioeconomic standing. Here, everyone feels welcome and included. Here, everyone is safe and able to enjoy themselves. Climate Action Street, including sustainable fashion. And a garden, just like the garden in the Chaz. In Equitaria. Oh! In Equitaria, there are no deniers of climate change. Everyone does their part to protect the earth and takes action to stop rising temperatures and destruction of resources. Along Climate Action Street, you'll see recycling bins and compost bins. There is a sustainable and safe public transport that reduces the need for everyone to own and use cars. There are no cars in Equitaria. Sustainable, recycled fashion is the rage here. Limiting waste. You know what would be great to limit waste in fashion is those disposable fashion companies. They're like the ones in like India that you never hear the left talking about, but that delivers those like $10 t-shirts to Target and Walmart, where everyone, like, the minute you wear something, you can just throw it out because it's so cheap just to get a new one. Eliminating that type of nonsense would actually do a whole hell of a lot more than recycled fashion. But, you know, what do I know, really? And you'll see women leading the charge in equal footing with men. Women leaders in business and governments that have been key actors in making the policies that are protecting the environment, because only women care about protecting the environment. The evil men. Men don't care about that. They're the patriarchy. Why would they care about protecting the environment? With the inclusion of women's experiences, talents, and perspectives, Equitaria has found new ways of sustainably reducing the country's carbon footprint and food waste. I'm sure they don't eat any meat either. Equal Representation Avenue. Oh, the CEO of the year is a woman of color. Obviously, Bank of Equal. Together we can. Wheelchair! Wheelchair! I feel bad. I feel like I really don't mean to offend people in wheelchairs. Okay. Equal Representation Avenues, with some of the most important institutions, government headquarters, leading businesses, and a major newspaper, office, and television station. They'll have balanced gender balanced leadership. Gender balanced leadership. Because we don't promote people based on their merit or their hard work or their capabilities anymore. We promote people based on their gender. The parliament has equal representation of women and men, and the boardrooms show women and men of diversity working towards common goals. In the media, you don't see stereotypes and sexism, except in places like Equitaria, which are doing nothing more than reinforce stereotypes and sexism. Education Boulevard. Oh, because everyone goes through the little indoctrination that is education. Wheelchair! Wheelchair! Okay. In Equitaria, education is a top priority. Our schools ground. You see young girls and boys reading history books that include stories of both men and women who have shaped communities and culture. Children attend schools without worrying about their safety, and girls and boys share chores at home. Since when don't boys do chores? Like, that defeats the whole purpose of having a child. Like, the only reason I would even consider having a child is A, to be that pain in the ass parent for the parent-teacher conferences, because I would absolutely be that parent. I would take pride in being that parent. In fact, I'm seriously considering having a child just so I can be that parent. But, like, if I'm gonna have a child, I don't care if it's a boy or a girl, they're freaking doing chores. Like, that's one of the, if I have to feed you and clothe you and house you and rear you, you are doing chores. Girl, they all have access to books. Oh my God, women have access to books? Really? And technology. I want to acknowledge that I know that there are many countries and cultures around the world that probably I wouldn't actually have had access to as many books and resources as I had growing up in the United States. And you know what that makes me? That makes me incredibly privileged to have grown up as a woman in the United States, where I had access to books and technology all of my flipping life. Girls are taught science and math without the presumption that it's not for them. Boys learned humanities and arts and learned the importance of gender and equality. Dude, in my high school, the art room was like the place that the boys hung out. Like, it is not a real thing that men don't like the arts. There's no such thing as a child marriage that pulls girls out of schools to become brides. Okay, I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that part of Equitaria. Freedom Avenue. Let's see. Oh, breastfeeding. Okay, public, which you can do, by the way, in the United States. Freedom is one of the guiding principles of life in Equitaria. Yeah, I'm sure there's as much freedom in Equitaria as there was in Brave New World. freedom of expression and movement, freedom to choose your identity, and freedom to choose how many children you have, to control your own body, freedom to get an abortion. Along Freedom Ave are the resources to guide some of those choices. Here you will find safe, voluntary family planning information, comprehensive education about sexuality and sexual and reproductive health and rights is part of the school curriculum and available to everyone. So here's a point that I actually agree on. I think there should be comprehensive sex education in school. I just do. I don't understand why, at least back when I was in school, the right opposed this. The right opposed like teaching kids how to use condoms, teaching kids, about safe sex and things like that, under the premise that if you teach children how to have sex, they're going to have sex. Well, guess what? Teenagers are going to have sex anyway. What you're doing is reducing the number of unwanted pregnancies when you're teaching people how not to get pregnant. In Equitaria, since everyone is empowered to access such information and services, couples and individuals can plan if and when and how many children they want to have. Women can also complete their education, pursue their careers, and enjoy better health. You know what? Women can do that anyway if they practice safe sex and use birth control and therefore don't have an unintended pregnancy. Dude, the very best way to reduce abortion in this country, because you guys know, I'm pro-choice within limits, but the very best way to reduce abortions is to reduce unwanted pregnancies by making sure that people have access to birth control and they know how to use it. This is just common sense. They are leaders in shaping health policies and budgets that affect their lives, referring to women. Every woman and girl, whether young or old, can get HIV testing and treatment without stigma or discrimination. In Equitaria, public health systems are fully funded and staffed, and user fees are a thing in the past. There is universal health care in Equitaria. Now that you've seen Equitaria, join #Generation Equality to make this a reality in your family, community, and country. This is creepy. This is one of the creepiest things I've ever seen in my life. This is a serious thing that they are peddling as this is dystopian, man. This is one of the most dystopian, real life things I have ever seen. Dude. This is we are living in the prequel for Brave New World right now with this crap. I don't know. I read somewhere the other day that someone said 1984 was a prequel to Brave New World. I don't think I believe that, because I think the 1984 was going to continue to be an absolutely horrible place to live. Brave New World is at least everyone's in a trance and is brainwashed, but at least you can go out and do stuff and there's stuff going on. I mean, I would much rather live in Brave New World than 1984, but to be honest with you, my strong preference is not to live in either of them and to actually be able to think for myself without being indoctrinated into all these little things where men are evil and not allowed to exist except under the thumb of women. I mean, I don't want men to be like that. That's stupid. I'm just actually in shock. I really am. I am in shock that this is a real thing, that the UN is dude. Okay, I'm going to link this in the description below. This was a genuine reaction. I really had not looked at this before I did this video, so I'm still just a little mind blown at the absurdity that is this thing. I'm going to think about it a little bit more for sure, but I'm going to link it in the description below if you want to go take a look at Equitaria and decide if you want to spend some time in Equitaria, if you want to build back better like Joe Biden wants us to do and spend time in Equitaria. But I guess that's going to wrap it up. Listen, if you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. I do daily content around news, politics, culture, really whatever I find interesting. Crazy stuff like this. I post new things almost every single day. I sometimes take a day off here and there, but usually I will have new content. So if you don't hear from me, if YouTube doesn't suggest my content or it doesn't show up, just check back on the channel, maybe turn on those notifications, maybe give it a thumbs up, which will make it more likely that YouTube will actually recommend it. That's all I have for right now. I'll see you soon.